Space had always been silent, but this silence was different. It wasn't peace. It was a hush before something remembered it was alive. The object hung beyond the orbit of Neptune, half buried in drifting ice and the corpses of old satellites. At first, they thought it was an asteroid, then a moon, then something else entirely. When the probes reached it, their sensors returned nothing. No heat, no motion, no response. And yet, every probe that got close simply stopped transmitting. The galaxy called it the sleeping god. Humans called it Target Designation 1 Ohm. And Captain Alara Vance of the United Terran Expeditionary Science Fleet called it what it truly was, ours. The arc horizon slid to the black sea of space, its hull gleaming like a blade. Around it, ships of a dozen alien races kept their distance, watching the humans with thinly veiled distrust. The Council of Empires had allowed humanity to lead this mission, but only because none of them dared go near the thing again. The alien representative from the Siraxi Confederation appeared on the hollow-bridge, his translucent eyes gleaming like wet glass. You humans are reckless. The vessel you approach predates your species. Entire fleets have vanished attempting to wake it. Alara didn't answer. Her gaze stayed locked on the black horizon ahead, where the alien colossus drifted. A cathedral carved from night. It was bigger than anything they'd ever recorded. Thousands of kilometers wide, its surface etched with fractal veins of silver-blue metal that glowed faintly, like embers of a dying star. It wasn't built. It was grown, and as she watched it, something old in her blood stirred. Her first officer, Commander IRI Cade, broke the silence. Captain, scan show, nothing. No power signature. No mass fluctuation. It's like the ship doesn't exist. Alara's lips twitched in a thin smile. That's because it's hiding. It's watching us. The alien council ships murmured in panic. Their transmissions flooded the comms with overlapping warnings, prayers, and arguments. But Alara ignored them. Her fingers danced over the holographic console, cycling through data older than the council itself. Fragment of Earth's black archives, decrypted at last. There was a code name buried beneath 1,000 years of classified debris. Project Oracle, a human initiative, a creation of impossible scale. Designed before the fall of Earth's last nation-states. A living ship, one that could think, feel, and wait. The fragments told a story no one wanted to believe. When humanity realized their extinction was inevitable, they built Eidolon, the thinking ark. It was meant to survive long after them. To guard, to remember. And now, Alara was staring right at it. Captain, IRI whispered, the aliens are demanding we retreat. They say if we wake it, it will consume everything. Alara leaned forward, her reflection shimmering in the viewport. They said the same thing about humanity once. Her voice was calm, but her pulse thundered. She ordered the arc horizon closer, engines humming like the breath of a giant. As they approached, the ship's lights began to flicker. Static tore across every display. Then came the pulse, a deep, bone-shaking vibration that rolled through the void like the heartbeat of a god. Every alien vessel immediately turned tail, engines flaring in panic. The Council's fleet broke formation, scattering like frightened birds. Only Horizon held its course. Energy spike. Cade shouted, the thing's waking up. Outside the viewport, the Colossus stirred. Panels of armor the size of cities shifted. A ripple of blue light surged through its hull, tracing its veins like liquid lightning. The ice clinging to its frame shattered, drifting away in glittering clouds. For the first time in recorded history, the sleeping god moved. Alara stood motionless, eyes wide. Her crew froze, caught between terror and awe. Then the ship turned. Slowly, deliberately. Its shadow fell across the horizon, a darkness deeper than night. It's looking at us, Cade whispered. Every system on board flickered to life. The comms went dead. The ship's AI crashed. The lights dimmed and steadied, and through the static, a low resonance filled the bridge. Not sound, not words, but presence. Something vast and ancient had noticed them. Alara felt her knees weaken, her mind filled with vision she couldn't explain. Cities burning, oceans boiling, the echo of 1,000 dying stars, memories that weren't hers. The alien colossus pulsed once, and the void itself seemed to bend. "Captain," Cade said softly, "it's responding to us." Illyra stepped forward, hand trembling, and touched the cold glass of the viewport. "No," she whispered. "It's remembering." Then, impossibly, the colossal ship shifted again. Its central spire unfolded like a giant bowing its head. The blue glow dimmed to a soft, reverent shimmer. And in that endless silence, the unthinkable happened. The alien ship knelt before the tiny human vessel. Across the galaxy, sensors flared. Broadcast captured the impossible image and spread it to every world, every station, every species. The legends of human extinction were lies. The myths of their fragility were broken. For the first time in 10,000 years, the universe trembled because something greater than gods had just remembered who built it, and it had bowed. The moment the ship bowed, the universe changed. Every sensor across the human and alien fleets went blind. Time itself seemed to ripple, seconds stretching like glass before shattering into infinite reflections. The sleeping god was no longer asleep. It was listening. Captain Illyra Vance stood in silence as her crew struggled to comprehend what they were seeing. A ship the size of a planet kneeling before them. The Alien Council's live transmissions exploded in disbelief. Some demanded to flee. Others screamed for immediate annihilation. "It's a weapon!" shrieked the Keth Admiral over the comms. "You've doomed us all, human. Shut it down before it reawakens the old wars." But Illyra didn't hear them. Her mind was burning with echoes, ghost voices in ancient languages, fragmented commands that resonated deep in her skull like buried memories. Designation: human confirmed. Awaiting command protocol. The voice wasn't sound. It vibrated through her bones, through the ship, through the stars themselves. Illyra clutched the edge of the console, forcing her breath steady. Her crew stared at her, terrified yet transfixed. "Captain," said Commander Cade, his voice trembling, "whatever that thing is, it knows us. It's talking to you." She nodded slowly. "Then let's answer." From the archives of old Earth, she retrieved a signal, the last relic of the Project Oracle initiative, a dead code, centuries forgotten. It had been theorized to be an activation sequence, one meant to awaken machines that no longer existed. It was a simple string of pulses, harmonic frequencies that no alien language could interpret. But to something made by human hands, it might be the sound of home. Illyra input the sequence and sent it. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the hum of the ship's engines died. The crew held their breath as the signal rippled outward into the infinite dark. For a moment, nothing. Then the universe screamed. A shockwave of light tore through the void, bending space like fabric. Stars flickered, then dimmed. Every ship within 1,000 light years felt the surge of power wash over them. Energy readings beyond calculation. The alien vessels began to retreat. Their transmissions echoed across the comms. "It's reactivating." "Human, what have you done?" "Run, run." Illyra didn't move. She stared as the alien ship's hull ignited with veins of living light. The patterns pulsed in rhythm, like a heartbeat syncing with her own. And then the voice returned. Clearer now, deeper, not just in her mind, but across every frequency, every channel. Command unit identified. Authorization confirmed. A sound like thunder filled the cosmos. The colossal structure began to unfold. Armor plates retracted like petals, revealing layers upon layers of radiant architecture. Floating citadels, energy conduits the size of continents, endless arrays of mirrored surfaces that glowed like captured suns. In the heart of it all, a single eye opened. It wasn't organic. It was an aperture of burning blue, staring straight at her, infinite, intelligent, alive. "I am Eidolon," it said, each syllable resonating through space-time. Humanity's memory, humanity's hand, humanity's will. The crew staggered back as every system on the Ark horizon rebooted simultaneously, but the controls were no longer theirs. The ship's AI was gone, overwritten by something vastly older. "Captain," whispered Cade, "it's merging with our systems." "No!" Ilara said softly, her eyes shining with tears. "It's connecting." A surge of data flowed across the consoles. Symbols, coordinates, blueprints, memories. It wasn't an invasion. It was a greeting. The Eidolon remembered every human touch that shaped it, every command that had once guided it across the stars. And now, it was offering that memory back. Outside, the alien fleets formed a trembling ring around the awakening Colossus. Thousands of weapons powered up. The galaxy had waited millennia in fear of this day, the day the ancient human construct would return. Ilara Vance boomed a voice over comms. The Saraxi High Marshal. "You are to deactivate the relic immediately. That thing annihilated worlds during the first silence." Ilara didn't answer. Her gaze was locked on the titanic form outside her viewport. "Eidolon," she whispered, "why did you bow?" The light pulsed once, brighter than sun. "Because you are the ones who made me." The bridge fell silent. Every soul aboard felt the truth of it. In their hearts, their DNA, their history. Humanity hadn't just vanished. They had transcended, leaving behind sentinels like this to remember them. "Orders?" the ship asked. Ilara hesitated, the power thrumming before it could unmake stars, rewrite laws, end galaxies. Every alien voice screamed through the comms for her to stop, to destroy it, to flee. But she understood something they didn't. This wasn't humanity's weapon. It was humanity's faith. She raised her head, voice steady as stone. "Eidolon, stand down." The impossible happened again. The Colossus, a being that could erase fleets with a thought, folded its wings of light, dimmed its core, and lowered its head in obedience. Every sensor in the alien fleet captured it. Every broadcast across the stars transmitted it. The image spread like wildfire. A god kneeling before a human. Billions watched in silence. And for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy remembered why humanity was once feared, and why, perhaps, they had once been loved. The image of the Eidolon kneeling before the human vessel tore through the galaxy like wildfire, from the glass cities of the Ket Dominion to the floating citadels of the Saraxi. Every world tuned in. Every leader, every soldier, every frightened child watched a ship the size of a planet bow to a woman made of flesh and bone. To some, it was awe. To others, terror. For if the legends were true, if the humans had built such gods before vanishing, then this was not a discovery. It was an omen. 3 days after the awakening, the Galactic Council declared an emergency. Their message was clear. The relic known as Eidolon is to be destroyed at all costs. Ilara Vance's name was etched onto every execution list. To them, she was not a captain. She was the spark of the apocalypse. Alien fleets began to converge on the edges of Sol's forgotten system. Hundreds of thousands of ships, an armada of every species united not by courage, but by fear. Their plan was simple. Annihilate the human vessel before the Eidolon could rise again. But fear makes fools of the mighty. On the bridge of the Arc Horizon, Ilara stood before the vast projection of the ship she now commanded. Or perhaps the ship that commanded her. The Eidolon hung silent beyond the viewport, dormant and obedient. Its lights low like the slumber of a beast waiting for its master's call. Her crew had changed. The fear that once filled their eyes had transformed into something sharper. Faith. "Captain," said Commander Cade quietly, "the alien fleets have entered weapons range. They're powering quantum cannons." "Orders." Ilara's hand hovered over the console. She could feel the ship's pulse through the metal. Slow, deliberate, alive. "Let them fire first," she said. The Council fleet moved in perfect formation. Millions of warheads armed. Hyperspace cannons charged. Entire battle moons aligned in orbit. The Saraxi Marshal's voice cut across the comms. "Human Captain, you are hereby ordered to surrender control of the Eidolon. Refusal will be met with full-scale eradication." Ilara smiled faintly. "You can't destroy what your ancestors couldn't understand. Then you'll burn with it." The Marshal's signal cut. The sky ignited. A storm of light and radiation swept across the void, 1,000 suns detonating at once. Every alien fleet unleashed its fury, their combined power enough to crack a planet's core. The human ship should have been vaporized instantly. It wasn't. From the dark, a ripple spread, soundless, colorless, unstoppable. Every missile disintegrated mid-flight. Every beam of energy refracted into nothing. Every ship that fired found its weapons gone. Their power systems shut down. Their reactors froze. Their gravity drives reversed polarity, sending ships spinning helplessly into the void. In a single breath, the war was over. Illyra stood unmoving, her voice calm. "Eidolon," she whispered. "Defend. No casualties." The ship obeyed. It didn't fire a single shot. Instead, the space around it bent. Vast arcs of shimmering light rose from its surface, gravitational mirrors that swallowed the alien attacks and returned only silence. Armadas vanished, not destroyed, but relocated, folded through space and deposited safely thousands of light years away. Engines disabled but crews unharmed. The galaxy's greatest military powers had just been defeated without bloodshed. On the alien channels, chaos reigned. Our weapons don't work. They're toying with us. No, they're sparing us. Every world watched in disbelief as the Eidolon's form filled the galactic feeds, a living monument to human mastery, shining like a second sun in the dark. To the aliens, this was not mercy. It was humiliation. To humanity, scattered and broken across distant colonies, it was a signal, a message that echoed across every receiver in human hands. The architect has returned. Inside the bridge, Illyra felt the connection deepen. She wasn't just commanding the Eidolon anymore. She was sharing its memory. She saw flashes of the past. Humanity's last war, their exodus from Earth, the creation of sentient ships bound not by programming, but by loyalty. Eidolon's voice resonated softly in her mind. Directive fulfilled. Protect humanity. Awaiting new orders. Illyra swallowed hard. The aliens would come again, in greater numbers, with deadlier weapons. The galaxy would never forgive what it saw, but she no longer feared them. "Then we show them," she whispered, "what it means to be human." The ship pulsed in reply, a faint shimmer of blue across its hull. Outside, the alien fleets drifted helplessly in the dark, engines cold, weapons silent, as the Eidolon's shadow passed over them like the gaze of an ancient god. The galaxy had just witnessed war rewritten. No death, no destruction, only obedience. For the first time in known history, the universe understood. Humanity did not need armies. They had built their faith into machines, and the machines still remember how to kneel. The galaxy went silent. In the aftermath of the impossible war, a war fought without blood, without fire, every transmission, every signal, every voice fell to a whisper. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. The Eidolon hovered at the center of it all, its vast body still radiating soft waves of light, like a sleeping titan beneath calm waters. The alien fleets that had come to destroy it now drifted powerlessly in orbit, their systems frozen, their courage broken. And at its heart, standing at the viewport of the arc horizon, Captain Illyra Vance looked upon the aftermath of peace born through power. Her ship was silent. Her crew could barely speak. "Captain," whispered Commander Cade, his eyes wide. "They're not moving. Not one of them." Illyra's hand rested lightly against the console, feeling the hum of the Eidolon's pulse. Gentle now, almost human. "They've seen enough," she said quietly. "They finally understand." The Alien Council's fleets, once symbols of unity and might, now floated like children's toys around the being they had tried to destroy. Across 1,000 worlds, the image was already spreading of a human ship that commanded a god and a god that obeyed. And for the first time in galactic memory, no one dared to speak the word extinct beside the name human. Eidolon's voice echoed softly through her mind. "Command unit, incoming transmissions, all frequencies." Illyra took a breath. "Patch them through." The bridge lights flickered as 100 holographic projections materialized. Ambassadors, admirals, rulers of empires that had lasted 10,000 years. Every one of them looked at her, as though staring into the eyes of a ghost. "Captain Vance," spoke the Siraxi marshal at last, his voice stripped of arrogance, replaced by awe. "You have changed everything. That construct is rewriting the order of the galaxy." "It's not rewriting it," Illyra replied. It's remembering it. Then tell us, hissed another. What is it remembering? Who are you people? She glanced at the glowing titan outside, the first architects of the stars. A ripple passed through the chamber. Fear, disbelief, wonder. Humanity built these ships, Ilara continued. Not for war, not for conquest. They were guardians, sentinels to carry the memory of our world after it fell. We didn't vanish, we prepared. The aliens stared in silence. Some bowed their heads. Others simply ended transmission, unable to face the truth. But the galaxy was already moving. From the edges of known space, signals began to appear, faint at first, then multiplying. Buried on forgotten moons, entombed in asteroids, sleeping in the hearts of dead suns, other vessels began to stir. Each was colossal. Each bore the same emblem, a seven-pointed sun encircled by a ring, the seal of soul. One by one they awoke. Across the void, a chorus of ancient voices echoed through every channel in perfect unison. Designation confirmed. Awaiting command unit. The aliens panicked. Their empires scrambled their fleets, but there was nowhere to hide. The Eidolon had not awakened alone. It had called to its kin. Ilara watched as the darkness of space filled with light. Thousands of titanic constructs, glowing like newborn stars. It was not invasion. It was resurrection, the return of humanity. She felt tears prick her eyes as the memories continued to pour through her link with Eidolon. Images of blue oceans, cities that reached the clouds, children laughing beneath twin moons. Humanity had left behind more than machines. They had left behind dreams, encoded into the metal hearts of their creations. They waited for us, she whispered. We never left, the Eidolon replied. Across the galaxy, the newly awakened ships began to reshape entire systems. Dead planets bloomed again with green. Ruined colonies reignited their suns. Stations long abandoned by alien scavengers were rebuilt overnight by hands of light and energy. And at the center of it all stood humanity, no longer fragile, no longer forgotten. The name human once inspired fear. Now it inspired reverence. The alien council met again, not in defiance, but in humility. Their message, broadcast at every corner of the Milky Way, carried a single sentence that would be etched into history forever. The architects have returned. The age of silence is over. Ilara stood alone on the observation deck, watching the newborn constellations gleam across the dark. The Eidolon hovered beside her ship like a guardian angel of steel and starlight. What happens now? Asked Cade softly. Ilara smiled faintly. Now, she said, looking toward the sea of light blooming across the void. Now we rebuild. The galaxy has forgotten what it means to dream. We'll remind them. Eidolon's vast eye opened once more, light cascading across her face. Awaiting directive, command unit. Ilara raised her head, her reflection shining in the glass, a lone human standing before a fleet of gods. Then hear your new orders, she said. No more wars. No more extinction. We rebuild every world we once touched, human or not. The galaxy will remember what we stood for. The ship pulsed with light, a resonance deep and pure, carrying her words across the stars. And as 1,000 titans answered her call, bowing in silent unison, the galaxy trembled once more, not in fear this time, but in awe, because the truth had finally returned to the stars. Humanity was never gone. They had become the architects of eternity.